So we are continuing in Frankie Sparks and the Class Pet, and we're doing chapter 5. Disappointments. The sheets of chart paper that Miss Cupid put around the room were big and yellow, the color of lemon sherbet. They were so sunny and friendly looking that Frankie could almost forget that she still hadn't figured out how to feed the rat on the weekends. Yesterday, we started a list that we could have for a class pet. Rat, Frankie thought. Rat, rat, rat. She would write the word on every single piece of yellow chart paper. She would write it neatly and she would spell it correctly. And on each sheet, she would use a different colored pen so that people would think that different kids had come up with the same idea. Her fingers itched, ready to spread the word throughout the classroom. Today we're going to start research, Miss Cupid announced. We're going to focus on figuring out which animal meets our parameters. Miss Appleton is going to come down with some library books about animals and some great websites she found. We will start a list of possible animals to have as pets. Animals that meet our 4 criteria we set out. Frankie sat on her hands and rocked back and forth. She had done research already. She wanted to announce this to the class, but that would be blurting, and Miss Cupid hated blurting. Plus, Frankie still hadn't figured out how to feed the rat fresh food over the weekend. Aunt Gina's challenge stuck in her mind. A rat needs to feed every day, and it should be fed every day, but it doesn't need to be fed by you. Janitors worked at the school. Maybe they could feed it? Miss Cupid locked eyes with Frankie. It was like she had special radar for when Frankie's mind was wandering. Frankie wished she could send a message back to her, but it didn't seem to work. Luckily, Miss Appleton knocked on the classroom window just then. Frankie leaped to her feet and opened the door. Miss Appleton pushed in one of her library cards and exclaimed, "Hello, friends!" She gave a quick explanation of the books she brought and told the class to visit the library website for links to good web pages about animals. She handed out a graphic organizer worksheet and explained how they were supposed to use it to take notes. When it finally came time to start researching, the rest of the class picked up books or laptops, but Frankie went straight to her cubby. She had been busy the night before. "Miss Cupid," Frankie called as she hurried to the front of the room. "Look what I did." She thrust a stack of papers toward her teacher. "What's that, Frankie?" "Research about rats. I did all my research and I'm ready to make my argument. Do I get extra points for being so quick? Can I share my argument with the class today? Maybe we can go ahead and just decide today." "Oh, Frankie, we aren't ready to decide yet. But once people hear about rats, they won't want to get anything else." "I'm sorry, Frankie, but that's not the way this is going to work. We're going to spend a lot of time on this. Today is research day." "But I already did my research. My aunt gave me a book when I saw her last weekend, and I read all about the rats, and I wrote down all the facts." "That's great, Frankie. I think Miss Appleton is going to show us some websites to look at too." "But I read all the words, Miss Cupid, all by myself." And here's a picture of Miss Cupid and Frankie. Miss Cupid put down Frankie's notes. "I really am proud of you, Frankie, and I'm glad that you are so excited about this project. But we need to give everyone a chance to get just as excited as you are. Miss Cupid, this is a huge disappointment." "I'm sorry you feel that way." She actually did look sorry about it, but that didn't make Frankie feel any better. In fact, it made her feel worse, because it meant that nothing was going to change. Miss Cupid felt bad, but not enough to let Frankie go ahead and make her argument. Miss Cupid was going to stick to her plan no matter what. With her head hung low, Frankie went and slumped into the chair next to Maya, even though Miss Cupid had put them at different tables this week. She sighed heavily. Maya looked up from her graphic organizer. Frankie noticed that Maya had already answered nearly all the questions. Frankie sighed again. "What's wrong?" Maya asked. "I spent all night taking notes about rats. Do you know that they can survive being flushed down a toilet?" "I didn't know that," Maya said. "That's a little bit cool and a little bit gross." "Exactly," Frankie explained. "So why are you upset?" "Well, I took all these notes, and I'm ready to make my argument, but Miss Cupid says I have to wait. I have to wait for everyone else to do research and make their own arguments. It's not fair." "It's kind of fair," Maya murmured. "I'd like a chance to make an argument about an animal, too." Frankie stared at her friend with her eyes wide. She could not believe what she was hearing. "But you know what animal you want. You want a rat." "No, Frankie, you want a rat. I think we should get a fish, something pretty. I just don't know which one yet. I like bettas, but—" "A fish?" Frankie asked. Here was what Frankie knew about fish. They died. Not always, and not immediately, but in terms of lifespan, a fish's was pretty short. Also, fish were boring. Miss Appleton, the school librarian, might have said this was an opinion, not a fact, but Frankie would disagree. Fish were factually boring. "I like fish," Maya said. "I think they're interesting." As she spoke, she drew a small fish on the bottom of her worksheet. "But all they do is swim, back and forth, back and forth." "I like watching them swim. I am on the swim team, you know. And anyway, I like the way their fins move in the water. I think it's kind of beautiful. I saw a yellow one in the store. It made me think of a flower. If we got a yellow betta fish, I'd call it Buttercup." Frankie just stared at Maya. Maya stared back. Frankie felt like an old, flat, bouncing ball that had been left in the sun on the playground. She and Maya almost never disagreed. Frankie got up and went back to her table. Miss Cupid had left a worksheet for her with a note. "Here's some fun math for you to do while everyone else catches up." Miss Cupid had drawn a heart on the note. Normally, Frankie loved math, but this was a time-telling worksheet. She hated practicing telling time because she hated clocks. Fat hands and skinny hands spinning by the numbers. They always went slowly when you wanted them to go quickly, and quickly when you wanted them to go slowly.